that don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hi guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my wonderful co-host.
Good day
Melissa.
to you.
Good day.
Thank you.
We're super excited today. I want to introduce you guys to Lupei Chou. She's a 20-year naval veteran, tons of leadership experience in those years. She's also a partner at Crown Capital, real estate investor, entrepreneur-minded leader. Lupei, thank you so much for joining us today. Can't wait to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Lupei, for those in our audience who might not know who you are, can you kind of give us the brief A to Z, how you got started, where you're at now, and where you're going?
Yeah, so JD, like we were just talking, I'm military and I'm still on active duty. I really started in real estate by accident. It was not really something I planned, or I was not really aware of there's like real estate investing out there if you asked me 5 years ago. But it all happened when I sold my first house. I made a nice chunk of money, when I sold my house in California. That kind of like the whole thing triggered this whole journey. So I'm still on active duty. So I am doing this on my off time, but I enjoyed it a great deal. Yeah.
Great. Well, why don't you talk about, or can you tell us a little bit about what Crown Capital is doing, what kind of investing you're doing now, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah, so Crown Capital is a multifamily company. So we mainly do syndications on larger apartment buildings. We also have some smaller project, depends with some more of the friends and family kind of project. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, we focus on the syndication, and we look at 100 units above apartment buildings. That's our buying criteria.
And when you say who's these partners that you have on Crown Capital? What's the team look like? And then what's your role within the team?
Yeah, so we have 3 partners. So myself, Tiffany Span, and Noel Parnell. So I am mainly responsible for marketing and investor relations. Tiffany, her specialty is really like the overall business operations, and she has IT background, so she's also really good with automation and systems. And Noel is our deal finder. Very important role.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Okay, well, I assume, I don't know, but you didn't just start out, as a managing member of this Crown Capital. You probably started out as a limited partner somewhere. What was your first syndication deal? How were you involved in that?
Yeah, so actually before the syndication, I started out in single family. Mm-hmm. So I was doing buy and hold. I had a few rental properties. I got up to 6 doors. But it was too much for me because, with working full time and trying to manage the property and deal with the tenants and maintenance. I mean, you guys know this very well, right? So I was pretty much maxed out at that point. I want to continue to do real estate. I really enjoyed it, but I needed to do it differently. So that's how I started to hear more about the commercial real estate, where you can partner with people on bigger projects. And, it's more of divide and conquer, right? Like different people have different roles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really good fit for me because I don't want to, I want to really specialize in one thing so I can focus on, doing that one thing and not like 10 different things.
Sure. Well, I am curious, how did you find your partners in Crown Capital, and how did you guys decide to start working together?
Yeah. So, so my relationship with my partner, um, it happened really like organically. So like Tiffany is local. She lives maybe like 20 minutes from here.
Mm-hmm.
And before we became partners, we were running a women's real estate meetup together.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been doing that for over a year. It's just a good fit. It was kind of like the natural progression, just start doing more and more together. So we became partner, and she met Noel at a conference a few years ago, and they became partners. So organically and really, I was looking, but I'm glad the way it worked out because it's not. I'm working with somebody I already know, and we work well together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, when I was reading your bio, it says that you guys currently have about 7 million in your portfolio. Can you tell me what some of those properties are and what they look like, and maybe what some of the deal structures are?
Yeah, so we have a so personally I personally own properties in Indianapolis. That's the market I invested before I got into multifamily. And my partner Noel, he's based out of Philly, and he's been a full-time investor for a number of years now. So he has a nice portfolio in Philly. And as a team, we have two syndication projects together, two in Texas. Well, one in Texas, and the other one is it's a two property portfolio, one in Texas and one in Kentucky.
Okay. Great. And what are those deals? Or maybe we can deep dive into one of those deals. How many units was the first one in Texas?
How did you find that?
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Yeah, so on the first syndication deal we did, we really we came in as a co-GP. For those two deals, we both came in as co-GP, meaning that we support the main GP on more of a supporting role, right? Like helping with whatever they need. So whether it's capital raise or asset management or investor relations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we came in. And mainly to that's the way to kind of like get in the syndication until you have your own team and
Sure.
be able to build your own portfolio. So yeah.
Okay. Well, have you are you just a GP in the other deals, or have you guys led the syndication?
We have done smaller projects, like somewhere in the 20-30 unit range.
Okay.
Have not done any large syndications. So that's
Well,
like
I think that's a relative term, because 20 or 30 unit syndication to us is still large, right?
And I guess if you could take it a step back, just because a lot of our listeners are maybe beginner to mid-level. So when people start talking about syndication, they don't really talk about how that evolved, like JD and I wouldn't wake up tomorrow and say, hey, we're going to do syndication. There's got to be some kind of process that gets you there. And so I think helping to understand that from a beginner person's perspective might be super helpful.
Yeah, so it's actually really simple. I think when it comes to real estate, right, you basically have two types of investor, whether you're in the single family space or commercial. you have the passive investor or you have the active. And some people want to come in, they want to do everything. They want to flipping houses. They want to do all that stuff. And some people don't. They just really want to put their money to work. So in the syndication world, it's mostly large properties and you have a lot of passive investors. And most of the time we see a lot of the professional people, like they have a really good job, they make good money, but they want to be able to diversify their portfolio and put their money to work, but they don't want to be hands-on, right? So because they already have a lot going on. So they just want to be passive as a limited partner in a syndication deal. And the other one, of course, is the active side. And then you would be, managing the property, running the project. So that's the main, I guess that's the main character of syndication. It's a really big project. And then you have basically two kind of investor in it, the active and the passive.
Mm-hmm.
It really just depends on what's the right fit for you, right? And your lifestyle.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so what does the ownership split look like in one of your syndications?
Typically, I would say you'll see about maybe 20/80, so 20 going to the operator and 80% to the passive investor. Sometimes 30/70 or 25/75. Those are the pretty standard deals.
Mhm.
When you have a really sweet deal, like you're able to, I've seen deals that people doing 50/50 split because it's really profitable. Even, you are only sharing 50% of the profit with your investors. They are still getting a great return. So it really just depends on the numbers.
Okay,
But typically, I would say between 20 and 30.
gotcha. And then what is the projection, or what's your guys' exit strategy? Do you have a plan for exit? Are you guys planning on holding forever? Are you refinancing the partners out and then maintaining ownership? What does the plan look like?
Yeah, so really like all that, right? Like people do it like all different ways. I think typically you'll see about 3 to 5 year hold, but nowadays it's really longer just because of the interest rate and the market. Your whole time teams just need to be longer to kind of like hit that profit margin. But depends on the project. It's kind of like Burr, right? But at a bigger scale. So you
Mhm.
can refinance, you can cash out and then still keep the property. Um, there are people who refinance and pay off the investors and keep the property for themselves. That's another business model. So it's just like everything else. I think you can get as creative as you want as long as your deal makes sense.
Sure. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Lupe, if we had some members in our audience that either wanted to find out more about Crown Capital, maybe more about syndications, or the type of deals and investing that you guys are doing over there, where could we send them?
So my partner and I, we actually host a weekly webinar every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's called The Wealth Without Wall Street
Mhm.
because our whole purpose is about, teaching people alternative investments, right? Like away from the market. So every Thursday we do a webinar and join us to learn about syndication. We also talk about tax strategies, different ways to invest, like how to invest with your retirement account, all kind of things, like all things related to personal finance and financial freedom creation. And you can come to our website, crowncapitalcore.com. You can find me on Facebook or linking under my name, Lupei Chou. So, yeah. looking forward to connecting.
Awesome. And are you guys actively raising funds right now? And do you have a project in the works?
I think we are going to have a project coming down the pipeline, Austin, Texas,
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome.
in the very near future.
What kind of investors are you looking to bring in on that? Are you looking for accredited investors only, or what kind of offering is it?
Right now we haven't really structured a deal yet, but I think this is a smaller property. It's about 50 units. So we might be able to do it non-accredited because typically we're able to, a lot of our friends and family, they're not accredited. So we'll do that kind of like the non-accredited to bring our friends and family. So I think this one can be a non-accredited potentially.
Okay.
But reach out to me. We can chat about it.
Yeah. If you're interested in looking into the syndication, I'm sure if you guys jump onto the webinar, that'd be a good first step to establish a pre-existing relationship. Awesome. Well, Lupei, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you get that deal locked up in Austin.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.